Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the GBYWN Australia podcast. This is episode number 91, bitch. So I'm on my way to 100. I want to get to 100, and I will when I finally interview that little cunt, Mykonos. But here today, finally, after, I don't know, nearly 18 months, it's been a fucking long time since the final WZWA show, but we've always wanted to do a little roundtable discussion, a little retrospective look back at the final WZWA show, Wrestleution 5, on April 22nd, 2017. And I have an esteemed panel of guests here today. First, I'd like to introduce, he is the founder of the Warzone Wrestling Alliance. He is a former WZWA Heavyweight Champion and a two-time Tag Team Champion. The final WZWA Cruiserweight Champion. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. 55 Live, Jack Wallace. How you going, mate? What is going on, mate?
Yeah, what's going on, fellas? Just sitting out here on a 8:01 p.m. on the 5th of October on a Friday night here in the WZWA Arena, or the former WZWA Arena. Sipping on a Sapporo premium beer, 5% alcohol. Go down to your local Dan Murphy's and pick yourself up a six-pack of one of these bad boys.
Are they sponsoring us or some shit?
No.
Actually, no. Luke Manette works there, so got to plug the product. But yeah.
Brown.
Right, so now we've got through that. The next esteemed member of this panel, he is, oh God, I have to go through all these. Okay, former SPWS champion, SPWS hardcore champion, ICWS tag team champion, ICWS hardcore champion, GBYWN Australian hardcore champion, ICWS champion, fucking WZWA tag team champion, and 3 times GBYWN world hardcore champion. I'm pretty sure that's all of them. Ladies and gentlemen, this is none other than the anarchistic animal.
And Hall of Famer.
And Hall of Famer.
Yo.
Killawatt Kaos.
Doing good.
What's cracking, bro? You feeling good?
What's cracking? The drinks, man. On our equilateral round table, ready to get this shit started.
Fuck yeah. And thanks, mate. Thanks for being here. Again, one of my favourites.
Thanks for picking me up.
And the final esteemed member of this panel, I'll be introducing right here, right now, former ICWS heavyweight champion, one of the last ever ICWS tag team champions, former GBYWN Australian heavyweight champion, and he's a Hall of Famer. Ladies and gentlemen, Daniel Johnston.
What the fuck is going on?
Howdy.
Just cracked open a fresh packet of Paul Moores.
That's sick.
Got my red wine going, Kevin Nash styles. I'm ready to fucking rock.
Excellent.
I got McDonald's Monopoly.
McDonald's Monopoly. Fucking hell, cunt. You probably rigged it, cunt.
Right, okay, and obviously I'm Aston Crude, the host of this great roundtable discussion. We're going to be talking about Wrestleution 5, boys. Are we fucking pumped or what?
Oh yeah, fucking
Yeah.
we're pumped, boys.
DJ's mum's calling us.
DJ's mum's calling, so
Hello?
whilst he goes and talks to her, I want to talk about life after wrestling, and I think we'll start with you, Jack. It's been 18 months. The ring's gone. How are you feeling now that WZWA is gone for good?
Good question, actually. Rather interesting question. Something I haven't often thought about. My life hasn't. I wouldn't say it's quite.
Sorry, guys. DJ's talking quite loudly in the background there.
I'm getting stage fright. Anyway, I'd say life after wrestling, looking outside and seeing the ring ain't there anymore is, it's one thing. And I remember waking up in the morning when the ring was still there, and knowing that WZWA was finished that was another thing. And I'd say my life hasn't changed too much since wrestling, but I would say definitely the most. I'm much more fucking lazier. Got no outlet to I don't exercise at all anymore now.
Yeah.
Wrestling was that one outlet to exercise, and even if it was for once a month or whatever it was that we were doing once every 2 months. And wrestling was kind of taking a big backseat in my life, but I'd still try to keep up to date with WWE. Let's not go into how. And then I'd say wrestling's taking a big backseat, but I'd say backyard wrestling was still a very big part of my life, and I don't think I'd be half the person I am today without it. But it's something I definitely do miss a lot, and I definitely wish I was still doing it, if I'm honest.
Right, thanks, Jack. Appreciate that. And sorry for everyone at home listening. DJ is supposed to be on this esteemed panel, but he gets a phone call from his mother, and he just, bails on us immediately. He's a real mama's boy. Mama's boy.
The lord of bad timing.
All right, so can you now turn off your phone?
Yes.
I don't want any more interruptions. Dad calling, Mum calling, Gareth calling, Nem calling. Oh, who are we kidding? Nem wouldn't call you.
He does call sometimes.
Right. The first question that I'm going around the table here, DJ, is life after wrestling. How has life been for you since the WZWA ended?
Yeah, well, it's been pretty good. I've been obviously developing my show secondhand. Check it out on Facebook. So we're nearing the end of production on secondhand, which is pretty exciting. So, I've lost about maybe 30 kilos. I'm healthy. I'm exercising every day, keeping busy. So yeah, I'd say that because I've been so busy with the show and everything, that's been really filling the void that was left when WZWA ended. And I miss it, definitely. I kind of still get the urge to want to get in the ring and wrestle occasionally, but overall everything's going pretty well.
Excellent, bro. Kaos.
Yeah, bro.
Same question. Life after wrestling, how you feeling 18 months down the line?
I'd go along with Jack, man. It's definitely left a huge void. It was definitely an outlet where we could all get around, and I think it was good for us because it all gave us something to do and work harder towards. And 18 months later, I'm different from DJ here. He seems to be the healthiest of us at this table. I've probably put on 30 kilos, hibernating like a bear all year round, and eating like one. And I've now got a family. I've got a gorgeous partner, 3 little bears running around, 3 anarchistic animals that keep me busy, and working towards being security so I can work on goring people that is not booked. It's been pretty good, mate.
Excellent. I guess for me, there are times where I feel like, fuck, I really miss it. Especially because I'm making the documentary that me and Ryan have been working on for God knows how long now, fucking 3 years or some shit. Going through all that footage, and I've got to splice in clips over the top of when people are talking and stuff like that, and then I end up going down these roads at night just watching old footage and stuff like that, and it really makes me miss those good days, those fun days where we're all together once a month having a good time together and just creating those memories and just doing crazy shit. And so they're the times that I really miss it, is when reminiscing whilst I'm making the documentary. But other than that, I don't miss organising it. So I always try to think of, okay, you miss it, just think of how fucking stressful it was trying to get everyone there and all that. And obviously there's no way it could come back either. But just that thought helps me kind of not feel too sad about it, because the stress of the fucking whole situation is out of my life.
And the fact that you don't have to take any bumps anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And, I think right near the end there, like, I could tell I was losing a bit of a step as far as my wrestling performances were concerned, and I knew, like, when it ended, that was probably the best last match I could possibly have. If I went any further, I don't think I would have been any good in comparison. So I think I ended it at the right time for myself. But anyway, life after wrestling, yeah.
Should we quickly take a little sidebar and let's talk about you cutting this footage together. There was a little story about our little friend Tim that caught our attention on the WZWA Facebook thread the other day.
Right.
Why don't we start off on a nice light note for all the boys who are listening and just kind of recap that a little bit.
Well, I was making a chapter about the Elite Alliance and growing with new members being added and all that, and I was going through Nick Ariel's interviews to grab whatever he said about the subject and put it in there. And he told a story about, the first night him and John actually wrestled in front of us at Wrestlution 2, and they were half a carton deep. They weren't really sure if they wanted to do the match, but eventually they decided, okay, we'll do it. And, 5-10 minutes before the match, Tim takes them aside and is trying to teach them how to do suplexes and how to lock up, and it's just embarrassing. These are guys that have been doing yarding for ages. They know the mechanics of a fucking suplex, and they don't give a fuck about doing a lock-up properly. They'll just do it the way they've always done, which is, it's not like a collar elbow. It's more like fucking both hands on both shoulders kind of thing, Like, they don't fucking do the lock-up properly, and it's too far into their time in wrestling to fucking change things now. But what a fucking annoying little cunt, Like, Mr. Know-It-All, 3 weeks of fucking pro training.
I'd like to hear from Jack Wallace on this subject.
It's just fucking annoying, man. Like, just hearing that sort of shit and seeing Tim himself, like, in a handful of matches, just fuck up and just butcher almost everything he tries to do. And then tries to, like, go around talking as if he's fucking Ric Flair coming into a yarding show, like, just being a know-it-all or some shit like that, man. Like, it's just fucking annoying. Just give it a break.
Like, did that cunt ever have 1 ounce of ring psychology in any of his matches?
No.
Did he ever tell a story? No, just spots.
Let's make it a fucking hardcore match for no reason, just so I can steal the show.
Like, that's the thing, man. He would come around and start talking like he fucking knows everything, and like he's done this and been to the WWE and done fucking more than Triple H, and then fucking doesn't even have basic ring psychology. That's why it's annoying to me, man. Like,
this is a guy that said what he would put on a table to go through were like wooden blocks that children would use.
Yeah, why? Yeah, in that match with you. Why did he want that for?
Let's hear about that match then, Kaos. While we're on the subject.
A match that I basically forgot. It was a pretty lackluster match. It was a guy that wasn't even willing to take a lot of bumps, and when he did take a bump, it was absolute fucking shit.
Landing on his arms and shit.
Yeah, and then he lands on a table full of blocks. He wouldn't even take a nice, cool spot. He just wanted to be thrown on a table with wooden blocks on it, like a fucking child. Because you know what, he was acting like a fucking menstrual fucking toddler all the fucking time.
Menstrual toddler,
right? If he didn't get his way, he chucked a tantrum. If you said something a little bit negative, he chucked a tantrum.
Oh,
through the match, he chucked a tantrum.
What do you mean he chucked a tantrum?
Sometimes he wouldn't just take. I'm trying to lead him through the match. I'm the hardcore guy. I'm not the hardcore guy, but I'm one of the hardcore guys. I've probably done a lot more hardcore matches than I have actual single matches. I think I know what would actually look cool. What would actually make would make an impact in a match.
So you're telling me that he wasn't happy with you leading the match?
No.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
No. And he would try to override everything. If I said Irish whip in the corner, it was no. Irish whip you in the corner.
What?
No, well, I'm beating the fuck.
He's too small.
He's like arguing with people during the match and what to do. Take
he
the
wants
fucking.
to reverse an Irish whip, man. I could literally pick him up and throw him out of the ring if I wanted to.
Yeah.
Who's ever actually seen him take like a proper flat back bump? I mean, if you go back and look at all the recaps of basically every show, pre-pro training at least, he's fucking landing on his arm and practically mangling his own arms every time he takes a bump. Like, do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, he always turned to the side. He never fucking did it properly.
Like the fucking... I mean,
Faggot. We'll talk about him a bit later as well.
We should.
But we're 15 minutes in now, and we've got to keep going with the line of
actual
questioning.
topic.
Yeah, the actual topic. But thank you, DJ. I appreciate the sidebar. I want to go around the table now and just get some comments about how you guys were feeling when those last few shows were taking place, and how you were feeling as it was coming together. Chaos.
I was feeling sad, man, because I knew that the clock was running out. We're on a timer now. And it was getting nerve-wracking because it was, what am I going to do in these next few shows that are going to make me content and happy when I walk out? Mm-hmm. And I remember getting pretty depressed. And for some of it was, why do I even bother? Do I even bother putting in an effort? Am I going to put all this effort into thinking about doing these great matches and great promos and whatnot, that it won't even end up like that, and it'll end up shit. But at the same time, when I delve deeper into it, I had the motivation, because as you said, the clock was running out. But after that, we didn't have to worry about it anymore, because there was the worry, there was the effort needing to be taken in. So my view going into it was very back and forth, but I'm glad that I stuck to it. I'm glad that I wanted to do the best and not end shit, and not end walking out and having regrets. Being full of regrets at the end. Exactly.
DJ.
Well, I think similarly, Chaos, my feelings about the matter were complicated. On one hand, I was looking forward to sort of not having to worry about, is this the time where I'm going to get injured? Having to worry about how my performance was. Did I do a good enough job that the opponent felt like they had a good match out of it? But then at the same time, I had started really hitting a stride with my performances, where I felt like I was really comfortable with who my character was and what I was doing in the ring. And I thought, if there was still another year or even 6 months left to go, I think I could have had some really phenomenal matches, and I've had some great matches, no doubt about it. But I think that for me, the biggest thing was, it might be too late for me to finally be hitting my stride as a wrestler, because it was already going to be over. And once it was over, there was no way that I was going to keep trying to run a backyard wrestling thing or anything like that. So it was mixed emotions. I was happy that I wasn't going to have to just stress about taking all the bumps, or what am I going to do, how's this going to go. But at the same time, I was also like, man, I'm just sort of starting to really enjoy my matches and feel confident about them, and now we're coming to an end. So yeah, definitely it was a bit of a mixed bag, probably a bittersweet feeling would be the best way to describe it.
Yep. Jack, you're hitting your stride with your run as Mr. 55 Live. How are you feeling in the last few shows?
Yes. Yeah, so that was very, very mixed reactions, I reckon. See, part of me was very happy that it was coming to a close, because obviously I was hosting it for fucking every month for 5 years, so obviously I was getting very over it. There were many times where I wish I could just rock up to a show at 12 in the afternoon, have a proper sleep in, and just be fresh. But the other part of me as well, I was sad it was coming to an end, and that's just because, I had started doing 55 Live very, very late. I feel like I could have done it a year earlier, and we could have ended on, I don't even think we ended 55 Live on a perfect note at all, because there just wasn't enough time. I feel like that's why, another reason as well, as to why I was sad that it was coming to a close. I don't think that 55 Live even hit its peak yet. I still feel like we were still building that. Yeah. And then, holy shit, here's the last show. That's it. Yeah. So, yeah, I feel like it was an idea that was cut off. And I felt like after 4.5 years, I'd finally struck gold. Yeah. After doing all these other gimmicks, franchise was fucking sick, but I don't feel like it was, 55 Live tier. Sort of.
It was more of a showcase for Luke, really.
I'd say the franchise was
not taking anything away from your part of it, but it was always kind of alright, Luke's the one that's really setting the world on fire, and Jack's sort of the other person in the team.
Yeah.
It was like 55 Live. That was your thing.
That's what I did.
Yeah.
It was unique.
That's what I needed to do.
Same with like 1990 Awesome, it's like Jack's doing his thing, but this is DJ's running the show kind of thing, and Jack's kind of like the sidekick.
Because I never had anything. I never had anything to really work off, and that's where I think I went wrong back in 2012 when I was putting my character together. I never had an actual personality to it, because back then I didn't know I knew nothing about fucking characters. I knew fucking nothing.
And you could see you were trying to find something, but by the time you probably could have started finding something, I was like, I've got to put him back with Luke, because I don't think it's working for him, and I want to make sure that he doesn't get lost in the shuffle.
But as well, I mean, like, the other thing was, I mean, you're quite... How old are you right now? Like,
21.
21. So, like, I mean, we're talking about someone that was, like, 15 or something at the time that this whole thing started up, But, like, it's hard to be able to, like, portray a character and get a character the right way that you want it when you've hardly even, like, figured out who you are as an actual person yet. And it's just... I think that, for a lot of times, not only as a wrestler, but maybe even as a person, you're still sort of searching for, like, what's your niche, where's your perfect sort of thing that's like...
With wrestling back then, high spots, hardcore shit, that was my shit in wrestling back in 2012. These days, I'm really fucking big on a good character. These days, like, I'm less about hardcore shit. Like, I still would prefer to watch a street fight over a regular singles match, but I'm really fucking big on good gimmicks now. As Carl knows, I've watched a shit ton of Attitude Era shit now, and I'm so big on just obscure, just shitty gimmicks like fucking Midian, for example. Just shit like that, man. Just stupid gimmicks like that, like, and they can be horrible, and that will be my fucking... That's my shit.
But
I love it. I love it.
Just because,
Gangrel, fucking Steve Blackman, the Lethal Weapon.
The oddity.
The wrestling doesn't even need to be good, man. As long as their promos are funny as fuck and they're doing a good story, man, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, Barrett, the matches... Doesn't matter if the matches are only 4.5 minutes long and they end in a DQ. Fuck you.
Slow down, man. Do you want to get sued by fucking...
And I'll finish this one off with, all I was concerned about was making sure that every single person didn't have a regret and everyone got to tick off everything that they wanted to before it was over, and that everyone had the exit that they deserved, and so they can walk out going, fuck yeah, my match and what I did, I ended it perfectly for me, and I wanted that across the board.
But that's it. The only thing, I feel like just like the last few shows, like in the whole of 55 Live from start to finish, was only, in what could have been, like, that was only a fucking, like, a 30-day trial.
Right, yeah.
To what could have been. Like, if you gave me, let's say we started it in, 2015, at, like, whenever 1990 Awesome ended, and, like, a month or two later we started doing 55 Live, I can guarantee, come the last show, everything still would have happened the exact way it did, but there would have been a bunch of other bullshit in the middle.
Bunch of other stories and things that you could have done.
More matches.
And I can guarantee you, man, like, losing the Cruiserweight title was multiple times would have been on that list. Like, I would have lost the title multiple times. I wanted to make it like a full new championship, and that's... I mean, I still got to do it, but, I didn't get to do it to its full potential.
Just could have expanded it. Felt like it could have stretched it.
Does everybody feel that by the end, that their characters that they wanted to portray did actually come to fruition?
Yeah,
what you wanted out of who you were.
I'd say in my case, I'd probably say so, but not so much from a personal point of view. More the fact that the reactions that my character had been getting probably since about like 2014, 2015 was showing me that, like, character-wise, I was where I wanted to be. For me, it was always more about the in-ring stuff, dealing with the cerebral palsy and stuff, not being able to take the same crazy bumps that everyone took. That was always my concern. But character-wise, I felt as though, I'd pretty firmly established who I was, and people looked forward to whatever I was going to be doing. So, which was, just a great compliment when all your peers and all your friends want to see what you're going to do in your match, just because they like your character. And people that had never seen WZWA before would often come and speak to me, pull me off to the side, and say that they really enjoyed what I had done. So, you know, that's always a good feeling when that happens.
Jack, obviously, you felt like that character was everything that you needed it to be.
Yeah, it's just touching on what I said before. I just felt like it was everything it needed to be, and I feel like I got there in the end. But like I said, it could have been so much more than what it was, just because of just time. Like if I had way more time, then I reckon it would have definitely come into everything I wanted it to be by the end. But I feel like with what I got out in the end was enough to get over the line. And I think everyone kind of got the idea of what the character would have been regardless.
Yeah.
Everyone knows. But, yeah, no one got to see the fucking beefed up fucking version of it. Like the really, like...
Long-term.
Prime 55 live.
That shit would have been fucking sick if we got around to it.
I think for me, you know, I'd been a babyface for a while and it was alright doing the Hitman thing, and I really enjoyed that because it was a complete different character than I'd ever actually done. It was, and the whole idea was for that character to tick off everything that it needed to do so that it would leave Backyard Wrestling feeling like it had accomplished everything that it had, but I needed to turn heel before the end. I had to be a heel again because that's just the best version of me I think I can portray.
Just where you were comfortable and sort of...
Yeah, and you can see that first promo I cut after the heel turn on Mykonos when I was in the ring with Stacey, and I was just back to my comfortable self, being able to be a fucking asshole and be cocky and up myself and all that stuff. Whereas, you know, the promos when I was a babyface, I didn't really know how to do it to the best of my ability. I'd always be like, it was good, but it could have been like 10 times better if I really planned it out a bit better. I just thought, you know, this badass Hitman character, but he just doesn't cut those promos like I did back in the day. So ending as a heel was best for me, I think.
But it was also like, it was just something that so many of us like weren't used to. I think that maybe it didn't have the impact that you wanted it to have, because everyone was so used to the Aston character that they were accustomed to. Now you're doing this sort of babyface thing, and it sort of was like, you know, Carl doesn't need to be doing that because he's already been around for so long and stuff, that by that point, I think you were always going to be sort of seen as like that veteran wrestler that, like, whether you were a heel or a face, you know, the whole Hitman thing was sort of, like, not that it was bad, but just maybe it's like sort of came a bit too late in your career for everyone to sort of like...
I had to do it though, because that 2015 run that I had before I did the gimmick...
Yeah, and you needed...
I was lost, I didn't know...
You needed a refresher.
Yeah, I needed something else. Chaos, how about you with your character?
I think with my character, for a while there, and mostly in WZWA, I was trying to get that whole face thing. Because it really took me by surprise, because when I got in, you said, I want you to be face. And at first I was not ready for it. And then I got it. Like, I got the face thing, and that was the thing. We got me up as a face, and then I got to turn back to heel, which was fucking awesome. I'd say by the time that WZWA ended, by the time end of Wrestlution 5, I got what I wanted, and that was to be well established with my character and being the anarchistic animal and being somewhat like a warrior in WZWA. And you know, I did heaps of singles matches. I updated my move repertoire thanks to like people like DJ and you, Carl and Chris, Rex. And by the end of it, that's why I was like, yeah, man, this is who I want to be, and this is how I wanted to go. Especially after those 3 matches and the little annoying ref thing I did, which was what I wanted. I wanted one event where I could actually be annoying. I wanted to be annoying, like for one event at least.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, I was really happy with what I did. And like I said, I wasn't full of regrets at all.
I remember telling you in the early days that you're going to be my Sandman. With the hardcore icon everyone fucking loves. The entrances are always fucking brilliant, and you know, a lot of passion with that. But honestly, by 2015, you'd been a babyface for like 3 years at that point, and it was lucky that you cried after that match against Dan, because it made me think, I've got to do something else with this character. And then to have the anti-hardcore, hardcore champion run, I thought that was brilliant. And, you know,
That was-
then you get your bloodlust back and you're back to being hardcore Chaos, but you're still a heel. And I think, you know, you were the best Chaos I'd ever seen, I think, by that point.
Yeah, like that fucking anti-hardcore run. I remember when I first saw it, I was like, oh, well, he's just been saddled with the fucking... Like, when I first saw it, I was like, I don't know how I feel about this, you know, he's just kind of like copying the fucking Mick Foley, like, ECW anti-hardcore thing. Then he starts doing it, and like, people are genuinely, you know, fucking pissed off at him. You know? He's getting genuine heel heat, and I was like, you know, man, I was wrong. Carl was obviously right, man, sending me this direction. Some of that promo work, man, I'm not...
He doesn't need weapons.
Yeah,
I'm a weapon.
I'm not saying this to exaggerate, man, but like, that period of time when you weren't doing the hardcore stuff was like, that was like who you actually are as a person, like, translated into the ring. Of like... Because you are a very confident person, you know who you are, you know what you're about, you're not afraid to stand up for what you believe in, you're not afraid to just be like, you know what, motherfucker, I'll fuck you up if you fucking piss me off, you know? And that's kind of what you started channeling when you were doing that anti-hardcore thing, and everyone really wanted to see you start punishing your body and doing all this hardcore shit, and you weren't giving it to them, and they didn't like it. And you know, I was like, this is the first time in a long time that a heel in WZWA is a genuine heel, and it's not ironic, and it's not just everybody kind of playing along for the sake of the show. It's actually like, man, he was really fucking... Just the promo work and stuff, man, the confidence that you had behind that mic work, definitely one of my favourite periods for your character in WZWA.
I definitely had my doubts when we were going into it, as you would know, because I didn't know if I could do it.
And then and I think that was also... you know, contributed to how well you did with that final ICWS run as champion there. You know, that anti-hardcore character that you did, the kind of vibe and the feel that you were doing with that character sort of informed what you were doing in ICWS, and just you were this dominant champion, you know, and you really were the top of the food chain, you know, the shark in an ocean full of fish.
Right, let's move forward. Good insight, guys. We get to... I want to talk about Curtain Call, the second last show. I wasn't really happy with it. I don't know what it was. I mean, we're off to a bad start already when Blade was sick, so he couldn't wrestle Zibby in the main event, so we had to fucking figure out what we were doing there. Alex didn't show up, which was a bit bothersome for me, because he was supposed to wrestle Justin in the Dream Match series that day and continue his feud with Chaos. It just didn't click well, that show, and I want to get your guys' thoughts if you really remember much of the show. I can't even remember who you guys worked with, but you worked with Justin, didn't you? No,
we didn't end up having the match because I was coming down with the flu as well, and Justin had just come.
No, I think this was Hard Time, wasn't it?
No, this was Curtain Call, because it was the same.
Because Justin wrestled in the main event as well.
It was the same. No, because this was the same show where everyone set up the stage and shit, right?
No, because Justin wrestled in a 4-way in the main event against Zibby, Ryan, and Jacob to make up for the fact that Blade wasn't coming.
Was this the show I did the Cruiserweight, is it?
No, this show you didn't wrestle, you just did the contract signing. You didn't have a match.
See, I've got no memory of this fucking show.
Yeah,
Me and Mitch lost the tag titles to Circus Royale. I think Chaos might have wrestled Aries.
Well, I swear I wrestled this show.
No, but anyway, look, if we can't really recall the event that well. It was disappointing that when we got to the main event of the second last show, most of the crowd had left the show, and fuck, there was probably only about
I do remember hearing
4 or
about
5
that,
people
and
left.
there was a main event match, and there was just nobody there.
Yeah.
So everyone had to like leave early and shit.
Well, actually, at Hard Time, I forgot this up, I versed Vincent Graves with you alongside. Jack did do the Cruiserweight Zoo match.
Oh, what a match.
Arthur Aries versus Rex Regan. And you actually versed Blade Shaw for the GBYWN Australian Heavyweight Championship.
Right.
And the WZWA Heavyweight Championship was on
Right.
the line as well.
That's right, and it turned into the mixed tag team match.
Yes.
So that's not curtain.
So that's
call,
not curtain
that's
call.
a
That's the
different
show before
So
curtain
that's
call.
hard time. So
Right.
Was I on that?
yeah. Let me just have a quick look.
Yeah.
Yes,
JD.
you versus JD.
Oh, right. That was the thing where we ended up. Neither of us could really be bothered wrestling, and we ended up just doing that quick segment where he hit me with the cutter and pinned me.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just wasn't a very good show, and I was very upset about it. I was like, God, it's the second last show. I was really hoping for a better showing from them.
I think everyone was feeling emotional, and I just think at the time as well, we've had shows like that before where things are kind of lackluster and stuff like that. I think the reason why it sort of stung a bit more was because it was the second last show.
It was right near the end.
I feel like it was a bit of an awkward show, just because it's like bang on before the last show, and then every other show before that was like on the lead up. I feel like every show of 2017 except Curtain Call was fucking amazing. Battlefield Brawl in particular.
Hostile Backyard Showdown was one of my favourite shows that we'd ever done. We were laughing so much that day.
And that kind of like makes me wonder, like when we were watching the recap for a refresher, I was just thinking like, how fucking like what could we have done if we just gave another year or two, just one more year or two? Like we forget what we said at Hard Time fucking 4, when we said one more year. We'll just say, look, these shows have been really fucking good. How about just one more year? And I wish that I suggested. I wish that someone had suggested it a year ago, man, because.
And I already know where I would have gone with the last year as well.
I reckon we needed one more year.
This was also like a time that you were trying to, trying to book everyone to verse people that they hadn't ticked off their to-do list as well.
Yeah.
And as I look, because I got my phone here, as I look, there are people here that wrestle people they wouldn't usually wrestle.
Yeah.
And of course, because most of them are like that, most matches were going to be a bit off, because a lot of these people have got their own styles
and they hadn't worked together before.
And we're also nearing the end, and a lot of people didn't make too much contact with each other because we're at that time where it's going to end anyway. We'll just do our matches and see how it goes from there.
And that like extends my point on it being like an awkward show. On top of that as well, like why was Brandon and Luke? Well, why was that what was it? Title versus hair?
Hair versus hair.
Like why? What was the?
Don't know. Monet wanted to shave his head and wanted to do a hair match.
It's just a lot of different awkward things. Like a lot of people trying to smash last minute goals out the park and things like that. Like I know Monet had always wanted to do a hair versus hair match, so he did it for the sake of it. And I feel like Curtain Call, like while yes it was needed.
Yeah. Monet versus Deacon in this match.
This Hard Time we're talking about.
Right, Hard Time was when the hair match happened. Yeah, he'd never wrestled Deacon before, so I had to have that match take place.
It's got it all backwards,
Because initially we thought we were talking about Curtain Call. That's the one where we set up the stage and stuff. But actually, all this
Just
shit
all getting confused too.
Yeah, it happened.
Sorry, listeners, we're getting a little confused. We'll get back on track.
I'm not sorry. I'm glad that everything.
We'll move on from Curtain.
We'll move on from Curtain Call. The next thing I want to talk about was Backyard TV that ended up getting cancelled. I got to the arena at about, 3 p.m. And there was no tarp on the ring because the old tarp was being fixed and being brought back a bit later. So I was trying to figure out what we were going to do that day. It was going to be, again, a lot of matches that either hadn't happened before or people wrestling people that they hadn't wrestled in a while, but they needed that final battle kind of thing. So as time was wearing on, we still hadn't really set anything up. We hadn't got the new ring canvas yet. We ended up cutting up the old canvas to set up the staging for the next day because I really wanted to get that staging sorted so we didn't have to worry about it the next day. And the canvas cover never showed up. So as time was wearing on, I just thought we cancel this. How are you guys feeling about that situation?
Disappointed.
Well, I personally didn't mind because I had a really bad flu the day of Wrestlution, and that day before I was coming down with it, and I was frankly like relieved not to have to wrestle because I was going to have my final match against Mykonos, who's always been one of my favourite opponents. Combat Crisis 2017 against Mykonos is one of my favourite matches. 2014, sorry. Jesus, it's been a long time.
Fuck me, man.
Doesn't even feel like it's been that long ago.
Combat Crisis is 2014. Shit.
So, unfortunately, I wasn't really feeling in the zone that day. So I personally didn't mind that much. I was just happy to catch up with all the boys and stuff like that. But I remember the whole vibe was just...
I feel it was a very...
it was just a very solemn vibe.
While it was exciting because we were setting up the stage and doing the taping of the ropes, and it ended up just being a fucking setup day entirely dedicated to the setup. Because I remember usually when we do the setup days, we always end up doing Friday night backyard TV. And this time around, we just couldn't get it done. Like, we set up the stage pretty quickly. I think it might have been something to do with the projector. I can't remember. We ended up just not having any time. I had to DJ a fucking show that night, so I remember I didn't want to wrestle. I can't really remember what was why we didn't end up going on with it. But I
it's just because the actual ring canvas never showed up, because I think your dad just wasn't going to end up coming back to the house. So
something like that, yeah.
But I remember one stage because like the staging hadn't been set up yet still, and it had been a few hours, and I think I just said it out loud. Nothing happens, no backyard TV happens until we set the stage up for Wrestleution tomorrow. Like, we can't do anything else until that's done. So we finally got it done by that point. We just set the projector up and watched some old shit, some old recaps.
Which probably worked out better, in my opinion.
Good fun, actually.
Because I feel like it kind of, it's fucking probably stupid or a very long shot to say, but, someone could have got fucking injured if they wrestled.
And if they did, it would have been fucking tragic. That's
It would
for
have
sure.
been our luck.
And they'd be sore the next day, and people would just be complaining, and people.
I just loved that tradition of the Friday night backyard TV. I loved the one we did before Wrestleution 4, and obviously the Wrestleution 3 one where we had that Friday night backyard TV, Wrestleution, then ICWS on Sunday.
Oh,
What a weekend!
I often say that was...
That's the greatest weekend ever.
Yeah.
I said Wrestleution 2, sorry.
It's one of the best weekends...
It's a rare weekend, man.
Of my memory, but also I always say that it was, as a wrestler, it was one of my best weekends, because I remember I did that show. I got to wrestle Rusty, who I'd always been a big fan of, and I connect with him quite well. We got along great guns, and had that match. I was happy with it. Rusty was happy with it.
And then you and Three Dog the next day.
And then I actually went to... Yeah, then it was me and Three Dog, and then the very next day I actually got up and went to Schwa training and spent the whole day doing pro training there, and then came to ICWS and had that match against Rex at ICWS.
It was just a great weekend. I wish we were able to do more of those type weekends where there was more than one show on.
It's a weekend not many people will be able to experience. Not many normal people will be able to experience.
And if you're one of those, and if you're one of those people that were at every single show that weekend, you're pretty lucky to have a pretty sweet memory, I think.
Especially in Western Australia, backyard wrestling's as rare as fucking Chris getting a root.
Oh, it's interesting. I mean, that is definitely rare. Hardly ever happens. But I think as well, for so long, especially before WZWA even started, it was always like with the ICWS guys, we were always either comparing ourselves with or trying to compete with the East Coast guys, like In Your House and, SCWS and all those guys. And yet we ended up being the longest tenured backyard wrestling organization. Was, our group of people, we were the ones that kept it going. We were the last people standing in backyard wrestling in Australia.
That's
basically.
why I stopped putting some of those guys in the Hall of Fame, and most of the roster's probably going to be in the Hall of Fame, because I just had an epiphany. I'm like, we're more important than any of them. I'm sorry, they're never going to listen to this, but I'm sorry, but we're more important. We did more. We achieved more. We're better than them. I don't care if they did it during a time period where backyard wrestling was quite popular on YouTube during the mid to late 2000s. We achieved more. We were a better federation. We had great matches, whether it was hardcore, high flying, character driven, storylines.
And they were always doing all these high spots. And
all they did was have good matches. They didn't have any stories. They did that very
sort of indie style of match.
It's still brilliant, don't get me wrong, but they're not as good as us.
It's great stuff, but if you look at the entire body of work that West Coast and East Coast did, as far as actually running an organization that people were actually invested in, nobody had the following that WZWA ended up having. Like, no one had as many shows where there were outside people coming to watch the shows. At the end of the day, even if athletically speaking, our matches never achieved the same level that theirs did, if you combine that with everything else that goes into running a wrestling organization, I think that the West Coast
His best coast.
His best coast.
Because, fuck, man, think about it. They had all their matches were the exact same as one another. High spots, crazy moves,
neck bumps.
Yeah, we had hardcore matches. We had high flying matches. We had all out brawls. We had Royal Rumble matches.
Southern
we had comedy.
Brawls.
We had every fucking style.
We just had depth, man.
We had way more depth. So if they don't appreciate what we did because they didn't give a fuck, then I don't give a fuck. Good on them for what they achieved, but we were better. Okay, don't know how we even got onto that. We'll talk about Backyard TV.
It's a big podcast, man. We have to.
It's going to be a monumental podcast.
It is.
We shouldn't be afraid to let ourselves go where it goes.
Morning of the show of
one.
Wrestleution 5. One by one, I want your stories of waking up, first thought in your mind, or what your, process was from getting out of bed to getting to the show. I like to start with Kaos.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was staying with you that night because we picked up Haiku Man. Went to the airport with you. Was it the night before or a couple nights before?
No, it was a couple of nights before, so he was at mine, yeah.
Yeah, and I would have been staying with DJ at the time. And I remember being excited. All the nerves and that kind of went away for a bit because I was packing my shit, I was packing my gear, the wraps, making sure it was all wrapped nice and everything was there and perfect. I think the one single word for it was psyched. Really psyched for it. Man, I just couldn't wait. And I never really do the whole professional stretching and trying to get all that.
I forget about that shit. I get in the ring and I'm like, oh fuck, I forgot to stretch.
Exactly. I did that all morning. I waited for DJ to get up and I was stretching, I was getting ready. I was pumped, doing my thing, listening to my music, listening to everybody's themes and that, and just getting ready and just having a good time before everything started, and of course just shooting the shit with all the boys like I love doing every other time. Yeah,
it's good stuff. Jack,
your
your point of view is more different to everyone else's because you live here. So.
Yes, mine's been fucked.
You wake up and there's people in your house.
Well, I mean,
two girls in your bed.
One day I did wake up to Blade in my bed. No idea how he got in the house, but no, I remember that morning. The first thing I woke up to was Monet and Steele standing over me. That's what I woke up to,
right.
And they were just like, "Oh, can we set up the speakers?" It's 8 in the morning,
and then Steele standing in the background going.
It was 8. It was like 8:30 in the
retard.
morning, man. Like the fucking mixer through the speakers had fucked up like months ago, or the previous show.
That's right. Yeah.
So Steele, I had to give Steele money because I'd gotten way too fucked up the night before. I didn't get home until 5 in the morning.
Why do you do it to yourself the
No.
night before the last show? Fuck.
On top of that, I'd been punched in the fucking face the night before, so I had a massive busted swallow.
shit.
You remember that?
Yeah, that's
Added
right.
to the character.
So,
Who punched you in the face? Why?
Well, mate, Jacob, man, he would never listen to this, but shout out Jacob Solon. He's one of my closest mates now. That's the funny part about it. That guy punched me in the mouth is like one of my fucking
You can't
closest
punch
mates.
your mates, who can you punch?
Exactly.
I deserve the punch that night. That's
So you wake up to these two morons at your bedside. Can we set up the music?
Yeah, and then I told them, look, you guys know. So showed them a photo of it, and they came back 20 minutes later with exactly what I asked for, and I was just like, everyone else would have had trouble finding this, but apparently they just went straight to a music shop and found it straight away, and I was just like, fucking wow. So you can thank Steele and Monet for saving Wrestleution. Not really. But
Excellent.
no, I'd say just as usual, just wake up, hungover as fuck, go downstairs, make a coffee. Wow,
Yeah.
there's people on my
I was going to say, I love that token miserable Jack Wallace coffee, the first one of the morning.
Oh,
He's got the mug in his hand and he's not talking to anyone. He hasn't said hello to anyone and he's got that look on his face.
What would
It is
you
a high
What would you do
garage.
if you woke up in your bed? So you're waking up after a big night out in your own bed, and all you can hear is DJ and Monet, and fucking steel and fucking the whole kit and caboodle.
Someone's
yelling.
accidentally locked the toilet door downstairs, so someone's going up near your room to squeeze out a brown steamer.
Fuck me, man. Like, it's 8:30 in the morning, 9 a.m. A lot of cunts rock up. When we do day shows, a lot of the roster rock up pretty fucking early. I mean, these days I wake up really early. Like, these days, I mean, back then I wish I was waking up at the time I do now. I'd be sweet. By 8 in the morning, I've already gotten up, had a shower, had breakfast. I'm already smoking billies. Yeah. As if it was like 2 in the afternoon. I'm living my life at 8 in the morning as if it's 2 in the afternoon, because that's how long I've been up for. Yeah. But that's not the point of the podcast. It's just the same old shit. Just hung
One last time. At least you knew at that point this is the last time I have to fucking worry about this.
It was a bit different that day, though. It was something a little bit different. It was the last show, and at that point I was very motivated with wrestling because of course 55 Live motivated me a fuck ton. Yeah. And that's when I realised the hard way. It's not wrestling or doing wrestling that I fell out of, but it was just what the fuck was I doing for all that time? I was bored and just... So coming down every morning coming down every morning was very miserable for a while, but once I started doing 55 Live, it was something I looked forward to.
I always said it completely changed you as a person.
It did.
DJ morning of the show, obviously yours was fucking miserable. I remember having to drive you and make sure that we got to the chemist on the way there so you could get your cold and flu tablets. For you must be pretty devastated. This is the final show. Oh, of course I have to fucking get sick. And guess who had the flu just before curtain call? Blade. So maybe you caught it off him. Maybe it's that fucking assholes.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. We do love our cuddles. So, but no, I mean, to be honest, like... My memories of the final show are positive ones because after the match I was just...
I'm asking for your morning, DJ.
But yeah, on that day it was just... I remember waking up and I was like, man, I have to fucking pull through and basically have one of the biggest matches I'm ever going to have. It's going to be my last match, and I had like the worst flu you could imagine. You know, like my tonsils were fucking inflamed, my throat was sore, I was fucked. And so the whole time, all I was thinking about was, man, I can't let this ruin Chris's final match. And I remember just constantly being in a state of anxiety over how this was going to go, because Chris is a good friend of mine, and I wanted to obviously make sure that he had the match that he deserved. So I spent most of the day sort of being anxious about that. By the time it actually got to I remember like even up until, it sort of was cheering me up a bit, being able to chat to the boys and stuff like that, and getting the energy up with all the banter between all the lads. But
it felt like a little reunion, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but I definitely do remember that until my match actually finished. It was probably more of a feeling of anxiety and like trepidation more than anything else, and then afterwards just relief and jubilation and happiness.
There was a lot of pressure that day on everyone at the last show, just because it's everyone's last matches. I didn't want to let Luke down. I'm sure you didn't want to let Chris down, as you just said, man. I feel like there's a lot of pressure on everyone that day, and once your match was finished,
crack open a cold one and just be like, yeah.
As sad as it is that you're not going to wrestle ever again, it was the best feeling in the whole world.
Yeah, it was also like, now I just get to enjoy the rest of
the matches. It feels like you just had a really illustrious career and you just retired. Even though we'd never made a send off this shit.
It doesn't matter though, we still put the time in.
I guess for my morning, everything was already packed the night before. I was ready, the night before I had a couple of cold ones with Aiku Man. And then I was just watching some old footage and reminiscing a little bit. Couldn't really sleep. I think I got to bed at about 2 a.m. kind of thing. Got up, crack of dawn, get Norman out of bed and make sure he gets in the fucking shower and sorts himself out, because we're getting to the show, we're getting to the arena as early as possible, so I can make sure that everything's organised, and DJ's got his cold and flu tablets and his Red Bull.
Gots to have my Red Bull.
I wish. See, I used to get annoyed at you because I'd drive you to every show, we'd always have to stop in at the fucking convenience store so you can get your big Red Bull. And I'd say, why don't you just get your Red Bull the night before so I don't have to stop off? Oh, well, if I get it the night before, I'll drink it. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, because
You would.
No,
You
because
would.
here's what would happen, right? If I got it the night before, Josh can attest to this, right? If I got the Red Bull the night before, I would end up smoking Billies, and I would end up being like, you know what, man? I'm parched as fuck. I need a drink.
Yeah.
And I would smash that fucking bitch.
But why would you drink a Red Bull stoned?
He would, man. He'll drink.
That's whack.
This is a man who would drink 2 litres of milk after a sesh.
Yeah.
Well, look, I mean,
Milk.
I'll wake up, I'll punch a Billy, and I'll have an iced coffee, and then I'll have another Billy. I can drink milk and smoke at the same time.
No, we all. What I'm saying is like, if the energy drink is in the house,
He'll drink it.
He can't restrain himself. He can't do it. He has to have that drink. So every fucking show, I'd have
Yeah,
to
so
stop off at the
resistance.
convenience store. St Ives convenience store.
I always
every
used to
fucking time.
wait until like just enough time for Carl to like be in his comfort zone that I wasn't going to ask him to stuff off as well. Like I would wait.
I wouldn't
until-
mention it at all because I'd be
Yeah.
like, no, it's
I would
not
wait
stuff.
until like right until we're there, knowing that I'm gonna like drop it on him.
So you both know that someone's going to say something, and it's just who's going
And
to.
he'd be like, oh, yeah, man, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
But yeah, morning of the show, yeah, just a lot of running through my head. 15 contests were on that day and a lot of shit to coordinate. Whether you've got NC Viper messaging me incessantly about when he's getting his stuff done because he's got to go to AAW. Barrett messaging me, when is JD Flame and Clint Marshall because I've got to wrestle at AAW and I've got to leave at a certain point.
Like anyone,
You know, and Mass, I've got to keep in contact with Mass, and my phone at the time was notorious for fucking dying of battery, so I've got to worry about when Mass is getting there and how long he's going to have to wait in his car out the front and all that shit, and then, you know, I've got to worry about Three Dog. You know, I haven't heard from him in about 8 days or so, but he said he was going to be there and he's still not responding to me. So I've got like all of these little things to worry about that are just constantly playing on my mind, whilst also having to fucking run a show
and do your own.
yeah, and I've got
performance on
3
top of that.
performances to put on that day. I've got the Masked Battle Royal, the Legends Rumble, and my own shit. So, and I've got to be at ringside for Stacey, and you know, it's just talking about it now makes me realise I'm happy that it's kind of it's in the past.
Yeah,
now.
that sounds fucking stressful, man.
All right, guys. So let's get to the show. I mean, I wanted to talk firstly the attendees that we had there that weren't usually at WZWA events. Either they were there, they're not usually there, or they're there but they weren't actually used on the show. So Alice, she was there, but she did not actually come out as Dan's manager as was planned. I guess
remember
things
her
were a bit weird between the two of them.
I didn't even know she was there.
I remember thinking.
I remember she was there because I remember
she
her
did-
commenting how cool it was to see girls wrestle. So
Yeah.
Fucking
I think she just didn't feel like doing it at the time.
right, fair
But, like
enough.
I remember, like I was actually just going to say before you brought that up. Like I remember how there were some people from the pros there, like Eli and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up.
And I remember thinking, like, fuck, like, why though? Like, because the first thing that Eli said to me when I got there, he was just like, "Oh, how you doing, fag?" You know, here's this person I haven't seen in like fucking
Over a year at least.
over a year, and he doesn't even just come up to me and like shake my hand
And say,
just
be
hello.
nice to you, yeah.
And
He did
I-
the same to Nem. He was a dick to Nem as
Oh,
well.
and I remember Nem was actually quite upset about that because you
Yeah.
know Nem is like Nem is like big on like respect and stuff. He shows respect to everyone that he meets, and he just wants the same in return.
Yeah.
So he would never go up to like Josh, for example, and be like, "Oh, hey Josh, how the fuck are you going, you fucking faggot?" When Nem sees you, he would go, "Oh, hey Josh, how you doing,
They're
man?"
actually trying to shake my hand like it's a video, or
No, I'm just doing it for example so that I can.
it just feels a bit awkward.
No one can see what we're doing, but I have my hand out.
So that was a source of contention. Is that the words? Is that a saying? Source of
Yeah.
Well, I'd like
people
to,
weren't happy with Eli being there and the way
well,
that he was
I
acting.
mean, before I even comment on it, I'd like to hear from you guys. You know, what was your take on that whole situation?
Well, I firstly, I'll get in on this first. I told Eli because I knew he was coming, because he wanted to be there. And I told him, please don't heckle. Just this one time, just let the guys just enjoy their last matches and don't cause a fuss in the crowd. And he said, okay, man, don't worry, it's all good. So, you know, after having that conversation with him and him still do it and upset people like Lowe and Gareth and Justin and Zibby, they were fucking angry about it.
I'd like to hear more about that because I haven't heard about Lowe and Justin and Zibby. You know, I'd like to.
Well, Lowe was just like, why the fuck was he like constantly fucking saying shit? You know, like I'm trying to fucking have a match out there with a guy that I've never met before, and all right, we're backyard wrestlers. We sometimes we don't hit everything perfectly, but you know we're not trained. Okay, just shut the fuck up and enjoy the match for what it is. And Justin was very angry about it. He's like, he almost ruined it for me.
What do you mean? Like, what was he saying though? Like, that's what I'm kind of wanting to know. Like,
laughing when Lowe missed a fucking running senton onto Gareth. He completely missed him. And just, if Gareth hit an awkward looking leg drop or something like that, you could hear him laughing and carrying on. Or I can't quite remember what he said during JD Flame and Clint Marshall's match, but, you know, he made a point to laugh anytime something awkward took place or make his little comments constantly. And, you know, it was just... He can't get through being in the crowd at a backyard show without saying anything because he's fucking Mr. Hotshot pro wrestler now who's still doing what he's been doing.
But he's a good wrestler, but the thing, it's like, you know, just because he's like a good pro wrestler doesn't mean that he has to sort of like, you know...
Like we're aware we're backyard wrestlers. Yeah, like we don't need to be reminded that
we're acutely aware of the fact that we're not sort of performing in front of like...
And I'll put Wrestlution 5 up against a Schwa show. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you what, it might not be perfect a lot of the time. People might do things from the wrong side and not do a suplex with their left arm. They'll do it with their right arm or bullshit like that.
Like, my point... I'm sorry to interrupt you there, man, but my point has always been as well, the average people that are going and watching a Schwa show or an ABYW show... They're not looking at what side someone's doing a suplex from.
No.
You want to put up the entertainment value of one of our shows against one of theirs. I don't really see the difference appreciably because there's been multiple times, I think, for all of us as individuals where people we've never met before have come up to us and said, oh man, great match that you had. Or man, this is so much fun. I can't believe that nobody knows about this.
Yeah.
Like I've had so much fun today just chilling with everyone and what a great environment. You don't get that out of a pro show because the pro scene, the way it is, you get a bunch of people that are just happy to finally not be at the bottom of the food chain in life that can now say, oh, we're at the top of this hierarchy within our little wrestling bubble. I remember when I went and did a documentary about a wrestler at Schwa and...
Big fat John Dozer.
Yeah, John Dozer. And one of the people in my group of the film crew was like this smoking hot chick named Hannah. Love you, Hannah. Hope you're out there somewhere. Anyways, she was... No, hang on. No, but...
Just get on with it, yeah.
No, but no shit though. The first thing she said to me when we rocked up at the training thing was, I thought all these people were going to be like fit and like buff, you know, like athletes.
Yeah.
You know? So... As far as the average person is concerned, they couldn't give a fuck that these people are wrestlers and shit like that. And we are yarders, we're even like lower on the totem pole than these guys. We don't give a fuck that we're like these wrestlers. We make fun of ourselves. We do it just as a hobby and just for fun.
We are content doing what we do.
Yeah, exactly, Kaos. They're the ones that are sitting there taking it seriously and trying to act like, oh, I'm so good, I'm this, I'm that. Why? Since when did it become a problem to just go out there and enjoy wrestling because you're a fan and because you want to pay tribute to the people that you grew up watching?
Right on.
Yeah.
Right, well, Chris Eklund was also there.
Fuck yeah, man.
Good to have him there.
And he wasn't a dickhead, though.
No, he was fantastic.
He was there from start to finish. Surprise.
When has Chris Eklund ever been a dickhead, really? He's a respectable man.
I think Chris had only ever been to maybe one show before that, so I was happy that he finally showed up and came and supported us.
And you know why? Because
Go on.
Chris is a fucking gentleman and like he has manners and he shows respect to people, and that's the difference, you know.
Yeah.
We had on one hand we had Eli that was, you know, I don't want to shit on Eli, you know, like it's not. I'm not sitting there having a go at him. But
Just keep going until I get.
To be quite honest with you, I've mentioned it before. Not to me personally, but the fact that some comments that he made during Gareth's match, and Gareth's one of my best friends, you know, that's wrong, man. The fact that he went out there and was having this match that he felt really proud of, and then he was like, oh, I could hear people heckling and shit during it.
Oh, fuck him.
You know, what the fuck is up with that, man? That's not right. It was meant to be our day. It was our day. Just fucking chill out and just enjoy some wrestling and some banter with the boys, you know?
It's because once you get that sense of authority, just because you're a professional wrestler. Like, I mean, you saw Jared Slate come. He didn't say shit.
Yeah, he was
there with
well,
the
yeah.
He was there with the utmost professionalism I've ever seen.
And he was just chilled out and just enjoyed it. Like, what do you think?
Slate
man?
showed respect to us and really appreciated the efforts we were going to, and treated it like he was a fan. And he'd been there for like the fucking last 4 or 5 shows.
And
he was there every event.
He stuck around at the last show like well after the main event.
Yeah,
He
we
stuck
all
around
had
and
we all
drank
had
it.
mad respect for him because he gave respect to us, and I feel bad for him that his attempts to bring in as many of us as possible to Schwa didn't work out. That was the intention for him, and I was the one that messaged him saying, look, I think you should come along, and if you know, if you can scoop up some of these guys, it'll be good for you. And he was very interested in that, so I feel bad for that, but I was really happy that he
I think what's more
along.
important is he had to go.
What do you
Yeah.
think, Chaos? You know, like, if anything, like, what was your take on this whole thing?
Well, yeah, you know what, I didn't give a crap that Eli was there or not, and frankly, this is the first time that I'm hearing that he's done this whole elitist behaviour and, you know, having to critique us wrestling like he is some sort of, you know, wrestling god, some, you know, professional. Yes, he does do it professionally.
And he's good.
You know, he's
like,
good.
No one's
Eli's
taking
good.
that away from
We're
him.
not taking
He's
it away
good.
from him, but at the same time, why take it away from us? We're not here trying to earn a buck or trying to get scouted by WWE or
No.
New Japan. We're just, like I said, we're out here. We're content, having fun. When we make a mistake, we don't. At the end of the day, we know we've done something wrong.
Yeah.
We know something's.
We're very well aware when there's
Yeah.
something doesn't
We
go
don't-
right.
and we don't need your input because you know what, we're already 5 steps ahead of you.
I feel
I
like
really appreciate and respect that Slate was there.
And even
and-
Heritor, you know.
And Heritor,
Heritor, yeah.
and Heritor's a great bloke. I love talking to Heritor. And you know what, I love Heritor because he knows where they're having fun. And I really appreciate that those guys like Slate and Heritor were there, and that they didn't sit there and stand there acting all elitist and acting like they needed to say something.
Yeah, they were being cool, man.
You know, and like I said, I don't give a crap if Eli was there or not, but I will say it was good that he was there for someone who was a backyard wrestler, who did put time and effort like we once did in ICWS. So I think, you know what, he should have been there to see our send off.
Of all people, someone who actually did do it with
Exactly.
us should have had the appropriate fucking.
We don't see him as Felix or that. I still see him as MC Cruel.
I
Me
don't
too. That's what I
ICWS,
was.
you know?
I've got him written down as attendees MC Crew. I don't even write that
Exactly. So that's how he's always going to be with us. Like, you can be Felix and you can win as many titles as you want and travel wherever you want. You're still going to be who you are to us.
That's what I think the shittest part about it is his. Where the fuck did he come from? Yeah. With
He's
us.
one of us.
But the
He
thing
is
is,
one of
though,
us.
is like we've never. He was always been welcome to like be a part of this, whether he's pro or not. We would have supported him no matter what he was
100%,
doing.
man. 100.
And it's like,
And even when he was pro, we'd let him have his dark matches with Mykonos in
Yeah.
2012 and all that shit. So I mean,
it's not about us versus them. It's not about that. You know, it's probably the last bit of the podcast we've been discussing probably sounds like, it's just these yadas on their little podcast taking an opportunity to like rag on the pros. It's not about that. We have a lot of respect for a lot of people in the pro scene. we're not never sitting there trying to say that we're equal to them or we're better than them or what we do is the same thing. All we're trying to say is that we're just a bunch of friends that love each other, and I have just...
You just suck each other's dicks
but
until we come.
But in all seriousness, though,
ferociously.
I could not even count the number of friends that I've made that I never would have met if it weren't for backyard wrestling, and that's what it's about.
And since then, you've lost them all.
Yeah.
Pro wrestling...
Because I'm a loser.
Pro wrestling's a business.
Microphone abuser. Sorry, Jack.
Pro wrestling, like, sure, ABYW, that's a business, but I feel like what WZWA was much different. And that's
and we had more subscribers on YouTube than all of them.
Do we still have that?
We've got like 1,250 subscribers. We're still getting them.
So
we're still getting subscribers.
Are we still beating the pros?
I don't know how we're doing against APW now.
The
But
APW
ICWS
well
page
deserved, though.
gets
Shout out
like
APW
30 new likes a week. Like, we're up to like 1,500 likes.
1,250 I think I saw last, and I was pretty impressed. I was like, we haven't even put any new content up, and we're still getting subscribers. One thing I will say about EPW is I approached Heritor, I approached Slate, I didn't approach AAW, obviously.
No.
They had their chance and they fucked it. But I did also approach EPW and tell one of the guys, look, it might be an idea to come along like you did to ICWS years ago with a few forms and stuff like that and talk about what you offer with training. And the response was basically... well, if anyone wants to train with us, they can come to us. And I'm like, all right, well, that's a mistake because this is one opportunity where you have all of us in the same place at the same time.
No one's going to listen to you. We've heard it all before. Like, this is what I've been wanting to say to a lot of those people that try to push. Like, example with like Slate and Heritor and all on the last show. We went to the Bottle with Jared Slate, and he did not once try to shove anything down our throat. Whereas I can imagine with EPW, all they would do is just try to be like, they'd try to fucking just shove it down our throat. Come to training, learn it all properly, learn it all. I can just imagine there would be a lot of bullshit. I remember Gorgeous Gary
and
William
Darcy coming to an ICWS event.
No, all right.
In your yard, 2012.
I mean, you know what? I'll say this, man. Like,
and nothing happened. No one spoke to them.
To sort of try to wrap up this fucking part.
We're not even done talking about all the attendees. So.
Yeah, no, of course not. But as far as like the pros that were there go, like Jared Slate, like he probably doesn't really think of me as anything other than an acquaintance. But to me, he's someone that I respect and admire, and he's always a mentor for me. He was always there saying, you know what, who cares if you got cerebral palsy? Like, who gives a fuck? You can do this.
You put that into the character that you wanted to do or whatever.
Yeah, he allowed me to be a manager as Gene Sharp. Even at Wrestlution, he still would have been willing to like have me back in Chua and stuff like that. He's always been supportive of me. He's never judged me. He's always said to me, I remember one time like Warship said to me, you can't do this. I'm happy to keep training you and keep taking your money and shit, but you'll never get on the card with my approval. Because I just don't think that you can do it. You can't run, you can't jump.
That's when you tell them to fuck off, bro. Like.
And I remember repeating that back to Slade, and Slade said, well, Warship can suck my dick because...
suck my dick too.
Because I don't believe what he's saying.
Thing is,
and he is a good person and a great wrestler, and he deserves every bit of the success that he's getting.
I'm sad to hear he's injured at the moment.
Yeah, and I'll never say a bad thing about Jared Slade because he's always been there for me from day one, supporting me. And that is the example that every pro wrestler in this state should set because it encourages people to go over there and give pro wrestling a try.
Oh, yeah.
And even if they don't follow up with it, it's at least they get the training money for a while, or at least somebody's given it a shot and exposed more people to the local wrestling scene or whatever. And that is important, and...
Right on.
Yeah.
Knuckles was there. The last ever ICWS champion.
Fucking oath, man.
Was there. Good to have him walk DJ out to the ring. One little story I did want to tell about Knuckles being there was I was adamant that Vincent Graves and Knuckles would walk DJ out for his match, but Nem, Chris, and I think Tiff was there. they went for a bit of lunch at one point of the show, and I guess it was during one of the little breaks that we had, probably just before DJ had his match, and DJ was ready backstage. He was in his gear, and he said, "All right, man, I'm ready to go. Let's do it. I'm like, "Oh, dude, like, we've got to wait for Nem to come back so he can walk to the ring." And DJ yelled at me. DJ yelled, "Oh, come on, man. Fuck, man. Let's just fucking do it." No, dude, no. We need Nem here for the entrance. That's all. I need him on the show. I need it. So that's just one little story I wanted to tell.
I'm sorry for you.
That's all right. You were just in the zone, and I think maybe for that brief moment, you're like, "I'm not feeling sick right now. The tablets have kicked in. I need to have my match now." So, but Knuckles walked down the driveway about 2.5 minutes later. So,
And it's also always awesome having Knuckles there.
yeah, and he didn't really come to many shows, so it was good to have him at the last one.
I'm sorry, but you know what? We should all right now say what we think of Knuckles, man. Because I think Knuckles is
in one sentence.
He's a fucking sick
I'll
cunt.
allow it in one sentence.
Alright, I'll go first. He's a legend. Full stop. Comma. He's a fucking amazing guy. He always treats everyone with respect. He is a really underappreciated part of our backyard wrestling legacy.
This is getting to be a paragraph.
No.
Get off his dick.
And, no, I fucking like it there.
Alright, Jack, your thoughts on Knuckles?
Yeah, good cunt.
Yeah, cool. And I think he's a sick cunt. So thank you. And Kaos is doing a poo right now, so he's doing a wee, but I know he feels strongly about Nem as well. Delcano was there.
Yeah.
Positive interactions with Delcano?
Relatively, I think he knows where the line is drawn. Barrett's always been one of those people where he kind of knows where the line is drawn. I feel like he's not like Eli. I've always seen Barrett like to sometimes be too much like of a bitch and want to loosen up a little bit. And what I mean by that is like, you know, at the show, like he was respectful.
Yeah.
And he was like, he was just, you know,
he was there to support.
He doesn't have an attitude like some other people do. Like, and that's the good thing about him. And when he does have an attitude, it's not even to be a cunt. Like, it's just to help most of the time. And it was good to see Barrett as always. I've fucking always got time for him, and yeah, he was always welcome at WZWA shows. Always.
Excellent. Absentees. Few people that were invited to the show, or I hoped would be there. I did have contact with Lightning Lewis, but
how's he doing?
He has deactivated his Facebook account
So
at the moment.
I'm assuming jail.
I don't think things might be going. I don't know how it's going. I guess not so well, but
Well, wherever he is, you know, I still love him. He was always a great kid to me, and always.
Once again, I was thinking about someone else. I wanted to, at least him to have closure of being here with us at the final show and us get to interact with him, but that's okay. Couldn't happen. Acid was absent. I had contacted him a few weeks prior in hopes that he might wrestle Vincent Graves, but
imagine that fucking match.
Acid was completely off the map at the time. I guess he was in rehab, so he wasn't able to show up. Marcus Cones-Jones, I thought he might show up with Low, but Marcus still doesn't even know how he wasn't able to make it. But I thought with him being such a big fan over the years, that it would have been nice to have him there. Obviously, sorry?
I was just going to say, we should add, since the time of the last show, you know, a couple of us have come back into contact with Ty. He's doing a lot better in it with himself. And, you know,
I went to the pub with him.
Yeah, I still consider him a great friend. And
maybe, I don't know, 9 or 10 months ago. I picked him up from his house and we went to the Sovereign and had a few pints, and then I recorded some stuff for the documentary, and he went to Centrelink.
I love that fucking
And as for Marcus, I had him over not too long ago, and Marcus is hopefully he was fighting to have more time with his
and I believe he's getting
baby
it.
girl, and I'm pretty sure he got it, and hope he's getting what he deserves.
And he was at the reunion party that we had.
No, Marcus is in touch with everyone. He's active in the Facebook group, and he's I wish it was like this when we were having the last show, because I can guarantee he would have been there.
Yeah, and he was also interviewed in episode number 89 on the GBYWN Australia podcast if you want to check it out
In the archives.
in the archives.
He's like that guy that went away and then came back when it was too late.
Yeah, and I think he kind of regrets it, but
But we love you all the same.
Most importantly, he's back.
I had also tried to get Dante Daniels to come down. Don't know if I was going to put him in the Legends Rumble or not, but I just wanted him at least be there with all of us because he's kind of one of those guys on the outskirts of the backyard wrestling group that's always welcome anytime.
He was at ICWS.
And he was there, and he actually was on the show doing a promo, which was really cool.
It's a shame he never got to come here. I don't think he ever.
I tried
He
several
would've
times to
loved
get him
it,
in the
man.
Battlefield Brawl,
never-
man.
never
Every
once
year,
said to me,
Dante, you want to be in the Battlefield Brawl? I'd really love to have you in there. I think it was just a matter of getting here from Bassendean, and he just...
Oh man, he was. I don't know.
He's a great guy though. He
Yeah,
would
he
have
is great.
loved it. He loves watching the WWE.
That's why I kept going on about it to him, because I was like, I know you will love this dude. Like,
I don't know. Like, does he ever watch any of our shit? Like, does he?
Yeah, he's a big fan of
And what the fuck? What was he fucking
Well,
doing?
it's just
I was
he's
trying to
got
get
a
him
lot-
to
He's
come.
got kids. He has
Yeah, I know.
3 kids and a missus, and you know.
You can put all that aside to pretend to fight someone.
Hydro was now living in Queensland, so
Yeah,
he
fair
couldn't
enough.
make it.
We all know he'd be here.
But he would have, and he would have been in that Legends Rumble as well. Phaser, obviously, he'd already had his last match because he was moving to Melbourne. He had that in the last episode of Backyard TV, that great match with Zibby. So he got a nice little send off anyway.
P.S. Check out his single Glue. That's GLU on Spotify right now. It's a great fucking song.
Okay,
Cracking
what's
track,
his band name?
Phaser.
No, it's actually.
It's just Zach Fleischer, isn't
yeah,
it?
it's just Zach Fleischer. But yeah, it's a great song. Check his shit out. He's a great musician, great guy.
Alright, we're almost through this list of people. J7 Bloodstone, I invited him as well.
No, we just.
What do
give
you?
up.
What do you fucking? What do you
Just
think?
give up.
You know, I can come there if someone picks me. No, you're not that important.
You're not coming back.
You had 3 matches in 2012. Go fuck yourself, all right? I tried to get you in every Battlefield Brawl ever since, just so Jack could fuck you up. Right, 3 Dog obviously was an absentee. That's pretty upsetting.
It is.
What?
That's one of the main. That's probably one of the bigger ones that's upsetting because he never got to have his closure with this whole thing, and he fell off the
And
map.
he-
What do you guys think about the disappearance of 3 Dog?
It's sad to me because he did a lot for WZWA and ICWS. He accomplished a lot. Did
He
a
was a
lot.
big part of it, yeah.
He's not like one of those guys who come in.
Well, he's not J7.
Like, he's not one of those guys that come in and then have like 5 or 6 matches and then fuck
And
off.
he had awesome matches.
Like he was around for a fair fucking chunk of time, like enough time to the point where if I wasn't at the last show, after spending that much time with it, yeah, I'd be kicking myself for not being there. Like I haven't spoken to him in fucking 3 or 4 years. No, since Phoenix did this one time on him. That was the last time I spoke to him. 2.5, 3 years.
Actually, he wrestled late in 2015 against Ryan. I think he only had like 3 matches that year, 4 matches. But yeah, his last match was against Ryan late in 2015. So
I'm fairly sure he's the only one who didn't get to wrestle in the end. Despite
actually, sorry, 2016. Sorry, I'm getting the year wrong.
For me, when I think of 3 Dog, you know, I miss the times where it would be like me and Kaos and Chris and 3 Dog all hanging out, and he's always been like a close friend of mine, someone that I enjoy spending time with. We would hang out a lot, just the 2 of us at my place, and you know, I miss that friendship, and really I don't have any ill will towards him for not being at the last show. I just think, I hope that he's doing okay with whatever he's doing. The fact that we've hardly been in contact with him is what concerns me the most.
I've heard from him once since the final show. But I had heard from him within the final 2 weeks before the final show. I'd actually had been in sparse contact with him over the prior months. He was supposed to be at Battlefield. He was supposed to be at Hard Time. He was actually surprised just before Battlefield Brawl to find out that there was at least 4 shows remaining. He was like, "Oh, cool. Well, hopefully I can." I didn't hear from him. Managed to hear from him a few, maybe 8 days before the final show, and then never heard from him until a year after the final show, which was about, a week before the reunion party. And I said, we'd love for you to come to the party, man. We really want to see you again. he said, I'll see what I could do. Hopefully I can come. And I was trying to make it be a surprise for everyone that he'd show up. But
as long as he's doing all right, you know.
I don't know what's going on. I don't know. But
needless to say, I missed 3 Dog in and out of the ring.
definitely.
Yeah, Aaron, if you listen to this,
Yeah, man.
Come on, mate.
Get wind of it.
Come home.
Come back to us, man.
The ring's not here. We're not resting anymore. But come have a party. You know,
Yeah,
have
we
a
miss
drink
you,
with us.
buddy.
Bloody
We'll have a few cones.
Fucking smash a few chili cheese sausages, man. Like, let's
Good
fucking
shit.
do it. Let's fucking do it.
There's there's 2 more absentees. Diffuser could not make the show. He was going to do a run-in on my match. But he was in Margaret River. And he had forgotten that I'd mentioned this to him months prior that he was going to be doing a run-in. And I had called him the week of the final show just to double check that he was all good. And he's like, I'm going to be in Margaret River. And he was devastated. He felt like he'd let me down, but he hadn't. It's okay.
He always tries to do the best thing.
He even said, like, I'll see if maybe I can drive from fucking Margaret River just to do one segment in the show, but then I've got to drive back immediately. I'm like, dude,
bro.
don't.
Don't
Yeah,
do, you know, but see,
overboard.
but that's the kind of person that, like, Daniel Bonner is, man.
Yeah.
And respect for taking that into consideration as well.
Mm.
a lot of people wouldn't even consider that,
Yeah,
or
a
even
lot of
mention
people
it.
would just be like, oh, fuck it, you know.
Oh, it's
But-
too bad or whatever,
yeah.
but he was just like...
But at the end of the day, I think that the people that weren't able to be there, you know, most of the time, we love them still. You know, it's just like, as long as they're doing all right, I'm fine with it as long as they're doing okay. I hope to see them again and party with them again and, you know, all that kind of stuff. But
Except maybe for our last absentee,
God,
one
yeah.
Tim Justice.
oh, he was, man.
Well,
But you better have a story.
let's
to
not
follow
go
up
into
with,
it,
man. You
please.
better have
Well,
a-
I already mentioned earlier about the acid thing. I was trying to get him to wrestle Vincent Grace because I still don't have a fucking opponent for him. Because I'll be perfectly honest, Vincent's story kind of ended at the second last show when he had that street fight with Rex for the Commissioner's Cup. So that's where that feud because within the feud of you and Rex, DJ, that's where his story ended because he had that blow-off match with Rex. And then I just didn't have anything planned. And I'm getting to like fucking 2 weeks before Wrestlution. I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do with this guy? And Monet's in the booking committee group on Facebook going, oh, look, I'll wrestle him if no one else will. I'm like, dude, last
I would've been
resort.
so angry.
Last resort.
I
But
would've
we're
been
not doing a
so
nonsensical Luke Monet versus Vincent Graves match. And Mojo Flow is not doing double duty.
I would have been so fucking
Exactly,
angry,
and that's
man.
another thing to keep in mind. So Acid, that failed.
God.
I didn't know what to do with him. When I put up the curtain call picture and I tagged everyone in the picture on the WZWA fan page, saying thank you to everyone that was a part of WZWA for being here, and I think I even tagged Luke Harrop.
He would be
Obviously,
so angry.
I tagged Tim's name, and then a couple hours later, my inbox lights up with Tim. Hey man, I'd really like to be a part of the final show. All right. There's a guy called Vincent Graves. I don't know if you've met Gareth before, maybe once or twice, but he doesn't have an opponent. He's like, yep, I'll take it. Sure, whatever. He just wanted to be on the show. And I'm like, all right, I got to run it by everyone else first. And he's like, okay, fair enough. This was the first time in a long time where Tim was seemingly being mature about the situation. And I said to him, look, man, everyone is happy to have you come to the final show, but you need to apologise or sort your issues out, whether it's with Jack, Chris, Jacob, whether it's with your cousin Lo. Like, you need to sort this shit out because they're all going to be there. You know what I mean?
And we're all going to bash the fuck out of you.
So hang on. So slow down.
So you wouldn't tell me to slow down if you
So-
weren't mucking around over there.
No, but like, you know, I listened to the tip.
Oh shit! Chaos has slapped DJ in the
I'm
face.
so wine drunk that I could hardly feel it that way. Like, all it was to me was like the sound of a balloon popping with
I don't
like,
know what you're talking
DJ,
With, like, no-
we're recording a podcast.
No,
here.
so but I listened to the
Ballad of Tim Justice.
the ballad. I can't even stop laughing now. Like, just the whole thing. But The Ballad of Tim Justice, right? I listened to it. I was like, oh yeah, this guy seems like he was a fucking idiot. So, you know, what I want to know is, like, what was the feeling of the roster, you know, and you yourself, Aston, and these two guys, Jack and Kaos specifically, what was their feelings about Tim going into this show?
Well, everyone seemed pretty, like, okay. Like, if he's ever had a chance to redeem himself, now it's the time to apologise to people and do the right thing. So that was the general consensus from what I can see at the time. Okay, are you alright?
Yeah.
Are you okay?
No, I'm fine.
Chaos isn't even doing anything, so just relax.
Alright, no,
Slow
I'm
down
fine.
on the red wine. We're not even at the show yet.
Oh yeah, I know. No, but no, I'm fine. But okay, so
Everyone
was
seems
willing
cool with
to give
it.
him another chance.
Yes.
I didn't give a fuck. Like, again, I didn't
Most
give a
people
fuck
probably
if
didn't
they're
give a
not,
shit.
but would be
Deacon
great.
probably didn't care.
Yeah, Deacon doesn't.
He's always my example.
Like
Steele
it affected
probably didn't care.
Yeah.
But Jacob probably would have had a problem with him.
No,
You know?
Jacob would have.
But Tim needed to sort that shit out before it happened. So that's what I left Tim with. And then as the show got closer to the show, 4 days out, I messaged him, are you all in for the final show? Oh, I think I might have work. That's okay, bro, because it's a day and night show, so we can fit the match in at any fucking point you need. I'm just worried about Gareth. Couldn't fucking care less about the Tim thing. And I left it with him at that, and then I never heard from him again. So I messaged him, you know, again, once more. Hey, man, is everything all right? You going to come? Didn't respond. And that's around the time Lowe had kind of followed up with me about what he could do on the final show, and that's when Lowe versus Vincent Graves was born.
So Jack Wallace, what's your take on Tim then? You know, let's hear it from.
I mean, he was spotted at Whitford's train station by Ace. Ace asked him if he was coming to the show.
Oh, Ace is sick though. How sick is Big Ace, man?
Ace spotted him at Whitford's trainer, and Ace asked him, if he was coming to the show, and Tim said yes, and then Tim didn't show up. It's just like, all right.
Of course, Tim didn't show up. I can already imagine what Tim would have said to Ace, and Ace probably didn't get really that excited. His stomach probably dropped.
All right, let's get past Tim now. I've told the story.
Fuck Tim.
We're just over an hour and a half in.
Nice.
And that will be the end of part 1, ladies and gentlemen. Part 2, we will actually get to the show of Wrestleution 5, because I think we need to get DJ's head on straight. So I want to thank our esteemed panel, Jack Wallace, Killawatt, Kaos, Daniel Johnston, for part 1 here on Wrestleution 5. Thanks, boys.
Thank you.
And we'll reconvene in a few moments for Wrestleution 5. Thank you.
Yeah.